Yeah,
Yes, yes. I'm always backing up.
you're always backing up. All right, I
Yeah.
believe we are live
Hey, we are
again.
live. We are
We,
live.
we seem to have very good
Um,
this.
Hello.
Hello, you're looking phenomenal today.
Thank you. I just got back from the gym.
Excellent. Did you get the shirt from Corey Quinn?
I did not,
They're
but
from the
that's it,
Duckbill group.
that's what he would say. That's how that's his look or
Yeah,
something like that. But no, I
exactly.
did not. I
It's
just found it on Amazon. I thought I must have that.
it is quite striking. I would remember you if you were at some
Yes,
some event or something like that.
that
Yes.
is good to know. Good to know. I actually have a story from the gym.
Oh, really? Just
So
now. Tell us the
so
story.
is that it was about 10 people. So I go to a class, and it's kind of a general fitness and like intervals and all sorts. I mean, it's sort of almost CrossFit, but not quite.
CrossFit like. All right.
CrossFit like or light. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're not rolling like massive tires and anything like that.
I think
But it's a
tires are a requisite. Yeah.
yeah, it's a gym called Elevate, and uh, because there was a new person in the group,
Hmm.
they said, okay, well, everybody say your name and something that you did fun in the last few days. It's like, okay, so they start going around. And when it came to me, I'm Matt, and I had a stream yesterday, and nearly 2,000 people watched it, which is amazing.
That is amazing.
And but I'm probably one of the only people that really I thought nobody else would really care about that.
Right.
And one of the other folks said, "Oh, what's your stream?" I said, "Techno Evangelist."
Hmm.
And where do you find it? And so I told him how to find it and all. And then later on, because we were like setting up for the next exercise,
Right.
I go over to him and say, "Oh, so what do you do? What do you do for work?" He says, "Oh, I'm a cartoonist." Like, really? Cartoonist?
That's
That's
cool. Yeah.
what? And he points to one of his works on the wall. It's Matt Inman who does the oatmeal.
That is hilarious. I love that,
So,
Matt Inman.
so
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is awesome.
I knew that he was a member of the gym because I saw that picture, which was a birthday present he did for his trainer.
That is so cool.
And then it's like, oh, it's a guy.
Yeah, that guy.
So I
I've
thought
got
that was
his game. I think Exploding Cats,
Exploding Kittens.
Exploding Kittens. Sorry.
Yeah. Apparently, it's also a TV series on,
No,
is it
no kittens
Netflix?
were hurt for the audience. I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I will need
So,
to look that up. I'm a big fan of Matthew.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I said it's you and XKCD are the two that I keep going back to for years and years and years, decades maybe.
This
Yeah.
is really
So,
cool.
yeah.
Huh. I'll need to watch this YouTube thing. Very very interesting. The oatmeal I think is where most
The,
people would
the
know
oatmeal, yeah.
Matt from. Yeah. Such
Yeah.
such a cool design.
Well,
I think I was.
apparently,
Yeah.
people who are a little bit older all know him from the comic, the oatmeal.
Right.
People who are a little bit younger know him from the TV program,
Oh, gotcha.
and they don't know about the oatmeal, and they might not even know about the game.
Really?
I didn't know about the game.
The game is kind of a joke in my family because they like to re-gift things. So I purchased this for my family one year, and the next year I received it back, and it was unopened. So I have a feeling that they may not
Uh,
have played it.
yeah,
But yeah,
unless they have a shrink wrap machine at home.
they also may have simply bought another version and sent to me. That's quite
I
possible.
have
I
stories about
feel it.
shrink wrap machines too.
Oh, tell me the story.
So a long time ago, when I don't know if I had graduated yet from college, but I
Hmm.
worked at a company called PC Docs, and it was document management software. And it was still at a time when, if you bought PC Docs, the software, you received a box. And
Right,
inside that box were manuals and CD.
35 floppies.
Yeah, yeah. And so we had a shipping team that would take the boxes and then shrink wrap them because it would have like the license information inside the
Right,
box.
right.
But that shipping team, they weren't that good. They
Okay.
were they were former they were retired USPS workers.
Okay. I mean, for me, that's a pretty
So
high level of
that
quality,
you
honestly.
would think. They managed to set this thing on fire because they left left the shrink wrap on or like under the burner too long, and it kind of had a fire in that room. On another occasion, that team we had these laptops that we bought from Sager Mitern out of LA. I think they were actually I don't know where they're an Asian country that they're from, but we had these laptops, and we had to send one in for repair because the sales rep left it on his car dash, and this is in Florida, Tallahassee, Florida, so
Yeah.
it melts, and so we sent that in, and we get this call from I still remember the call from Jovan at Sager Mitern, and he says, "We got your laptop, but it's broken." He says, "Yeah, that's why we sent it in." He says, "No, it's a broken." I said, "Well, yeah, well, it was like, no. It's it come in package, Manera envelope."
Oh my god.
They sent this laptop, a $2,000, $3,000 laptop in a manila envelope, not even with bubble wrap in it, just an envelope.
Oh,
That was the last straw, and they were fired.
that is rough.
Anyway, fun stories.
How was the stream? That's a lot of concurrent viewers.
Well, no, so that's 2,000 have watched since yesterday. On the stream, there were, I think it averaged 50, but at any one time there were, some people dropping in and out. And so by the end of the stream, it was like at 550. And then since then, another 1,500 people have watched it.
That's phenomenal. What were you talking about that was so interesting? It had to be
I don't know.
shirt. Must have been the duck shirt.
It was a different Hawaiian shirt. So I now have I wear a different Hawaiian every day. I mean, not this. It's sort of Hawaiian, pseudo Hawaiian.
You've reached this stage of your tech career where you're into Hawaiian shirts.
I'm into Hawaiian shirts. But I did a look at X01.
Okay.
So LG put out a new model called X01, and it's version 3.5 of that model. It's Korean. It's a fine-tuned for Korean or trained for Korean and English mostly, although it also does other languages as well. Mm-hmm. And so I just collected a bunch of questions I thought were interesting ways to test models for reasoning as well as some other topic areas. And I just did it on screen. And because I've got this new fast machine that I can use as well.
Right.
Which I think, did I mention last time? Or I think I mentioned between us, but not on the stream.
Maybe not on the stream. EXO-1 looks pretty interesting. For those just listening, it's EXO-1, all one word,
EXA, yeah.
O-N-E.
EXA-O-N-E.
Yeah, but
and so I was...
What were you running on?
So I was given a machine, and they said, do cool stuff with it. You can have it for a long time, okay. Probably a couple of months or maybe more. We'll try to give you a few weeks' notice if we have to take it down. Right. It is I don't know if this is a VM on the machine or if it is the dedicated machine.
Okay.
But what shows up in like the hardware info is dual CPU 52 core.
Woo. Okay.
1.8 terabytes of RAM.
Okay, that's pretty good. That's a good start.
8 H100s.
8. Sorry, it took me a moment. H100s.
H100s.
Wow, that is phenomenal. And
so,
how much memory do they have per H100? Is it 24?
80 gig.
Oh, it's 80. Right, because they're meant to be shared. Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that is.
So that's 640 gigs of VRAM.
Wow. I mean, if you can pull them together, that is amazing. Yeah. For image generation, though, that is incredible. I'm sure there's other benefits as well, but like that.
So I played around briefly with Invoke, which I think we mentioned in a previous show. And that was good, except I don't think it's yet at the point where it can take advantage of multiple GPUs. It's just on one. Right. But with Ollama, I can say load up these 8 models, and each model takes a different GPU, and now I can have multiple models being tested all at the same time. And basically, I downloaded every model, every quantization from Olama,
Okay.
and then a
As
series
one
of
does.
questions, as one does, a series of questions, and then I have it map out basically a to-do list of map every model and quantization to every question to generate this list of hundreds, thousands of questions
Right.
that need to be tested. And it takes all the ones for Llama 3.3, 16-bit quantization, or FP16, and runs all those in sequence. And on the next GPU, it does all the, another one, XO1, or somebody else. And so it can use up all the GPUs. And now I'm like, it's cooking. It's amazing
course.
watching
Yeah.
all 8 GPUs, 100% utilization for like days. And
Because
they
I'm-
said
Yeah.
just use it. You've got enough credits to use it for months.
Incredible. And who is the provider?
So it's Brev,
It is Rev. Okay.
and so they're not sponsoring, but they've given me this badass machine.
Right. Which what do I say may affect your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
But
trying
that's
not to
all you
make
have to
it.
say. Yeah.
I'm trying not to make it about them. It is. I'm using it to show something else that's very interesting, and you could do this on any machine. I just happen to have a machine that's wicked fast.
Right. I like that Boston that you injected right in the end there. Get fast.
And so yeah, so we were able to with was it OpenWeb UI on the screen. I had the three models all running at the same time. So XO1, FP16 on all three of them, 32-bit or 32 billion parameter, 7.8 billion parameter, and 2.4 billion parameter. And then ask the same question, and you see them all spitting out the answer. The 2.4 much faster than the 32, but the 32 sometimes better, not always. So it's just interesting to see how they perform, and it's not a slam dunk saying, oh well, the 32-bit or 32 billion parameter model.
Right.
It's not always a slam dunk that's the winner, which was interesting.
The other thing I'm
Sometimes.
wondering is how you're evaluating them. Because like
Ah.
disclosure at Datadog, we're using OpenAI to send things off to see how far we're off, that kind of thing. So there's like a calculation that happens, and it's kind of
Yeah.
like there's maybe a temperature rating or something like applied
Yeah.
right now, and then right now it's just failure to answer, that kind of thing. But I think
Yeah.
this
So
space is kind of open right now. Not a lot of people have agreed on how to do this.
right. So so I haven't done any of the what I did on the stream was let's just do this manually and kind of read through the answers and
Right.
figure out what we think is the best one in this test.
Right.
What I'm intending to do for the bigger project and because I always hate the benchmarks that are available because it's not consistent across all the models.
No.
And if a model might show a chart in their documentation, but it's always take away a few models, to add a
Right.
few other models to make sure that they look really good.
Of course.
And is it the full model or FP16 or Q8 or Q4 or you don't really know. And if it's a FP16 model, but you can't run that, is the 4-bit quantization going to be as good
Right.
as a 4-bit quantization as of another model? And so can we come up with and my other big beef with a lot of benchmarks is that they're open source. And so the questions are known, and so the model makers know the questions and can game the system, which has been seen, but
Right.
so keep it a closed source what the questions are. But then about grading, so with I always hated the process, but when we had to try to figure out what speaker did we want to have added to the schedule for DevOps Days Boston
Right.
and DevOps Days Seattle, we used who was it, Sessionize or somebody that shows 3 different abstracts on the screen, and you can say, A, B, or C. So you can order them in order of what's your preference.
Right.
And then you eventually go through all of and you see the same things over and over again, but you eventually go through all of them and how they relate to each other to figure out what are the 10 best presentations that you want at your event without seeing details about who this person is. So try to make sure it's the best talks, not just the people who always talk.
Right.
So have people being able to vote what they think is the best answer for the same question, and they may be looking at different quantizations or different models and not show this is from Llama 3, and not show anything that might taint the way the person answers the question. So this answer is better than this answer, which is better than that answer, and keep doing that over and over again. But I don't know I think some people will be really into that, but I don't think a lot of people. I don't know. Maybe there will be.
So I was Googling something just to see because I wasn't sure if I had the right name, but I believe possibly a generation or two generations younger than us, what they're doing is what's called tier lists. Have you seen this before? It starts at like the top tier, and then you just sort of drag things into it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's from a website. I think it's just called Tier List Builder.
I've seen a lot of people do that kind of thing.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking of. But then again, it's very difficult to do tiering for all of the things that you're testing, because like it could be code injection, it could be ability to jailbreak, or all types of stuff.
And I was thinking I'd also basically hand it off to like most of the really well-performing models, like a few of the 4 or 5 billion parameter models and 70 billion, and a bunch of really good models, and ask all of them and kind of average that result as well. And so maybe that provides the first version, and then as individuals start grading them, then we start to see which ones are more interesting, and then you can filter it out. So it's great that you looked at FP16, but I can only run Q4 on up to a 70 billion parameter model. Only show me that stuff. Here's the amount of memory I have. Only show me the models that are relevant to me, so I can see what's the best model for my style of questions. And so it's also about, it's not like the best model overall. It's well, maybe there's medical questions, or there's DB questions, or SQL. SQL is DB, but anyway, different topic areas, and different reasoning areas, and all those types of things. So that's the goal. And I'm using Windsurf to help build. So Windsurf is like Cursor, or there's a bunch of these kind of offshoots of VS Code that have some sort of AI integration, and it will start building the code for you and actually writing it. Yeah. Aiden, I think, is another one on for Vim. And so it'll write the code for you, and then you kind of type in, well, let's change this to this other type. And they, at least with Windsurf, it can deal with pretty massive projects, and it's like so much faster than what I could ever do.
Right. Yeah, I've heard good things about Cursor. Have you yet to try it?
Yes.
Definitely pretty interested. There was something in the chat, so I just wanted to point this out. Wojciech's talking about Qwen 2.5, and I think Qwen is the one that is Mandarin, correct?
From is it from Alibaba or Tencent?
It is, in fact, from Alibaba. I had to pull it up just to make sure. So Wojciech, good point, but I will say that a lot of the ones that are specific to like one language, I think what's interesting to me for EXO-1 is that this is the first time I've heard of one that's native Korean language. I've heard of one that's Japanese as well, but when we're talking about vector distances between words, this is very different in a language that's not English. So it's actually really interesting to see ones that are for different languages, especially because the tech community in South Korea is quite prevalent these days. Not that it's not in China as well, but to see them have one that's built for that purpose and open source, I think is actually definitely worth testing. That sounds amazing to me.
Yeah. I saw another model that was pretty recently. There are actually two different ones that both came out around the same time that were focused on African languages, which I thought
there you
was
go. Yeah.
fascinating.
Yeah, exactly. Because different languages are going to change those weights completely.
Yeah. And so one thing I did that I thought would be interesting was I chose a excerpt from Play-Doh something. I found something online, and I grabbed that and I said, "Hey, translate this into Korean." I asked the model to translate into Korean,
Right.
and then I took that translation and handed it to Google Translate. Say,
Excellent.
translate this into English,
Right.
and it was pretty spot on. It was
That's
amazing, and
fantastic.
all three of the models, even the smallest model, did a really good job
Yeah, and this
saying,
is one of
"Here's
those
what it is."
key problems, right? I think it was English to Japanese, Japanese to English, and then
Yeah,
back again kind of thing, and it would mess up every time. It's one of those
yeah,
things that Google Translate just can't really do very well.
yeah,
I think it's lack of articles, pluralization, stuff like that can make it
yeah,
confusing. I
yeah.
don't know enough Korean to know where the problems would lie, but I feel like they're similar.
Right. Now I can't read Korean, so I don't know whether the what was outputted. Yes, here's the translation to English, but is it the way somebody would actually say it?
Can we
Like,
dive into that just a little bit? Do you know how Korean Hangul is written?
I mean, I saw the on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
screen. I didn't know.
it's pictograms that depict the either the shape of your mouth or like your tongue or what your tongue's doing. So when you
Oh,
see the
really?
O, it's like your mouth looks
I
like
did
an
see
O.
the O.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took some classes when I was at Samsung, and I was just kind of amazed. But yeah, they compound, so there might be like a couple
Uh
at the
huh.
top and one at the bottom kind of thing. But it's start to finish what your mouth looks like or what your tongue may be doing or mouth
Right.
might be doing during it. So there's some that are like down, some that are it's
Yeah.
very interesting. It's
That is
worthwhile
really
looking
really
into.
cool.
Like I'm not saying learn it, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
worthwhile looking at how they decompose because it actually is very cool.
Wow.
But I can
Well,
imagine like because of that, decomposing this
yeah.
into actual
Yeah.
transformers would be really cool.
And I mean I've experience with translation because I
Right.
mean my degree is in Russian language,
Russian,
and
right?
so
Yeah.
one of my classes or a series of classes was all about, okay, here's this article from today's newspaper in from Pravda in Moscow. Let's translate it. And we'd take today's newspaper and translate that one article over the course of like 3 weeks
Right. Yeah. It's
because
not
it's
easy.
really hard
Translation is
to
tough.
get it so that it makes sense. Not only is it this is the right word, but does it actually make sense? Is this something that a Russian national would actually say?
Or yeah, in English, would
Yeah,
this sentence be the right way to say it? Yeah,
yeah,
it's a pretty difficult problem.
yeah,
And then going back the other way is even harder
yeah,
because you've already
yeah.
done it. It's
And you see these people that are like the translators at the
live
UN
translating.
that
Yeah,
are able. It's like, oh my
so
god,
good. They're so good. It's amazing.
yeah.
Fantastic. Someone else said they were testing 5.4. Yeah, I did come
Hmm.
across that and kick the tires for a couple minutes. I honestly was impressed as well. It's incredibly fast. So for a
Yeah,
lot of the things that we'd like, why is the sky blue? Those easy ones, like it
yeah,
gobbles those up, no problem whatsoever.
yeah,
And the tokens per second is it's really fast. And
yeah,
what's the other one? Like time to first token. So the amount of time it takes to start
yep,
responding is very small. And then once it does, the rate at which it responds is quite
yeah.
fast because the model's so tiny. But it's also it feels quite accurate.
Hmm.
I'm impressed. The models keep
Yeah,
getting better and better and better.
yeah.
And I realize that the general populace is bored of like this constant updates, but like I'm not there yet. I don't think we've reached saturation. There's still more interesting stuff. And when you're talking about the IDEs like Cursor, or when we're getting more into that agentic workflows where you can control a computer, even if it's just a VM,
Hmm.
this is really interesting. Like that multimodal kind of you're looking at a screen, or the LLM is digesting a screen picture by picture, making decisions based on what it is, understood or resolved from the image, and then clicking on buttons using XY coordinates. I think this is
Right.
phenomenal. So it does matter. I realize that some people are tired of hearing about it, but it is very
So
interesting.
let me take Llama 3
Yep,
2 or Llama 3.2 3 billion and
yep,
say, why is the sky blue? And just see how long
yeah,
it takes. A little bit of time to load up the model
it does.
on here, even with this blazing
Even
fast machine.
even quantized.
Um,
I've never used that one obviously to its full extent because it's massive.
but this is the 3 billion parameter model, so really small.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I
Um,
heard 300 billion. My apologies.
oh, sorry. And I'm seeing the response tokens per second is 185 tokens per second.
That is blazing fast.
Yeah.
Wow.
Um,
I mean, I'm over here on a Mac Studio. I'm still waiting for a
yeah,
refresh, but yeah, that is incredible. What I find
yeah.
about those bigger models is that as you're having that, I don't want to say conversation, but as that session is going through, having that little, even if it's a small amount of context, when you're dealing with a lot of code, can be a really big deal. Even if it's just like a Terraform main file, it can
Hmm.
actually be something that breaks smaller models. That context is missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't ask the most popular questions. It's biased. Fair, fair. But I think this one is pretty interesting in that the way that the model will respond will be more or less verbose. It seems, at least in my testing. So far, I gave a pretty concise answer. Let's say, whereas I feel like
Hmm.
Llama 3 is it 3.1 might be quite a bit.
The one I just did was 3.2.
Oh, 3.2 is pretty small, so that should be super
Yeah.
fast. Yeah, very interesting. Some questions in the
Yeah, it's why does it take so long? It's just a matter of getting it into the in getting it in. I mean, it's physics. It's there a certain amount of bandwidth that the card has, and you just need to. It you can't.
GDDR6, I think it goes from SSD to probably CPU memory, from
But
cache
then
to
there's the different, like
memory to
the pipe
CPU.
is
PCIe. Yeah,
is different for different cards.
right.
So it might be fast, super fast RAM, but it just can't get it in there.
Interesting. I hadn't
Yeah.
heard of 3.2 Vision, David. Sorry. What about yourself,
Yeah, so
man?
3.2 Vision, the 11 billion and the 90 billion parameter models, I think 11 and yeah, they are regular models, but they also do Vision really well.
Multimodal, right?
Yeah, yeah, and they do a great job. Uh, Depending on what you're, I mean, they're not perfect for everything. Like one of the, I think Matt Berman was kind of slamming the model because it wouldn't read a QR code. Like, well, it's not trained to do a QR code,
Hmm.
or it did a captcha pretty well. Although I saw some new captchas that, I mean, find the of all the images, find the triangle that's inside a triangle. It's like,
Yeah,
oh my
or
god, it's hard for me to figure this out.
that one I saw the other day was like, this animal has this property, and it showed that I think it was a tail. Like, show me all of the other animals that have this property. It was like it had to be a
Wow.
fish tail specifically. It was very,
Right.
very interesting. But it was a shark. I was like, wow, I don't know, like, I don't know, does a fish count? It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I got it wrong for a bit because I wasn't sure necessarily what like, I'm failing these tests.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're going to do going forward. Uh, yeah, I think Wojciech, what you're saying is true, but yeah, it depends on how it's training. So in terms of
Hmm.
like biases built into to how it's trained for sure. Oh wow.
Yeah. The German, I guess it's referring to the
Yeah,
Volkswagen, but
Volkswagen.
it
Yeah,
wasn't faking performance. I mean, I guess it's sort of. It was faking it to the government authorities around emissions, and
right,
so they weren't faking it to the customers just to during this testing,
right.
which is also bad. But
It's definitely
I don't
bad.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
possibly not the best analogy.
So comparing two images, I don't know if any of the models do that well.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Interesting. I think David's saying for Llama 3.2 Vision is what this
Yeah.
one seems to respond pretty well. Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. I'm still interested in the image to description, so I think that's part of this process. Is that
Mm-hmm.
you
Yep.
describe two images and then compare the descriptions. Is probably what the workflow looks like. Very very
Yeah.
cool. Huh. And so on the stream, did you? I'm trying to think here. You ran EXA-1 on one of those H100s, I would assume.
I ran the 32 billion on one H100, the
Okay,
7.8 on a different H100, and
gotcha,
the 2.4 on a different H100.
gotcha.
And I didn't have to do anything. It just
It just
automatically, okay, it just puts them all onto the right place.
and this is WebUI with Olama in the back end. picking the
Ulama
GPU.
Open Web UI. Yes.
OpenWeb UI, sorry. Very interesting.
Um, yeah, it worked really well. So I'd like to do that with more of the other models that, especially the more recent models, start doing that kind of streaming, because I think a lot of people are pretty interested in this.
That kind of chaining as well is interesting to me, because if you've got one model that decomposes into
Yeah.
smaller, let's say like the big GPU is being used, or the one that you
Hmm.
allocate most of your workflow into, you can almost
Right.
tier an experience. So the free users get the one that's shared amongst
Right.
all these small models, and then maybe the mid tier gets like a two or one H100, and the top
Hmm.
tier gets two H100 kind of thing. Very interesting. I like that. As we're coming up to more and more workflows here, where people can actually
Yeah.
run these in production.
Yeah.
I've been playing a
I
lot with
tried.
the. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
tried just now loading up the 405 billion model, 500 billion parameter model,
Right.
and it's just like it's sitting there,
Yeah.
uh, it's like taking forever to load up.
It's just IO. Yeah, it's a big file.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Yeah. I
think
mean,
those.
it's the FP16. I said don't even start downloading it, because it was like 800 gigs or 900 gigs, just for the file. Like, I don't need that.
Yeah, and I made a mistake. I thought these were GDDR6, but they're actually HBM2E or HBM3. I had to look it up just to make sure, but they're actually pretty fast. They're 3 terabytes a second, so it's not
Mm.
it's not the memory ingest. I
Ah,
don't
that's
think
what
it's
that is. Yeah, I on the
the rate.
like
No,
NVTop, I see it's HBM3.
right. That's memory type. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to ask what you're using, because this I have so many questions, because this is one of those things, like monitoring your GPU in this way is not
Yeah.
normal. Any like this
Right.
is not something we normally do. On
Right.
Windows, you might be gaming and trying to figure out how much RAM do I have left, that kind of thing. But it's not
Right.
something that you're looking at all the time. In this scenario, though, you like the amount of usage you've got is actually
Yeah.
really important if you're bin packing or what have you.
Yeah. So it's NVTop.
Right.
And NVTop does a really great job of showing like a graph of each of the 8 GPUs, and you can see how much memory and how much compute is actually being used, what percentage is being used. And so you get to see the three, like for the three models, uh, how much memory, and the 2.4 is a lot less, and the 32 billion parameter model is a lot more, and the amount of time that it's crunching is a lot shorter for the 2, but a lot longer for the 32. It's amazing. Yeah.
And are you using Docker for any of these, or are you just running it on quote unquote Metal?
I am running Olama directly on the box. I'm using OpenWebUI in Docker, and I was using Invoke in Docker as well, I think.
I definitely still have like monitoring questions.
I should.
Use the speed, yeah.
I mean, I still have a trial of Datadog. I should probably use it
It might,
to.
yeah, I'm not sure. Like we definitely do have stuff. So we've got the MVML integration, and
Uh-huh.
we've also got a newer one that you could look at. The one that we built on our own,
Hmm.
so the community built one. We've also got the monitoring for EC2 GPUs
Mm.
that were like on those. I think the Trainium instances or what have you. Under I think it's Neutrino under the
Hmm.
Neutrino family.
Hmm.
But I do, because NVML is how you normally do this, and I think NVML ships with NVTop, or NVTop is part of
Hmm.
that package. So it's probably installed already. It's just basically how you get it on. This is Linux, I'd
Right.
assume. Yeah,
What's that?
it's on Linux, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, but that's where we are now. Is like, what does GPU monitoring look like going forward? Do we
Right.
use the same CPU memory
Yeah.
model we did before, or do we do something else?
And it's nowhere near as good for anything on Apple Silicon. I mean,
Right,
it's Apple Silicon does a terrible job of letting you know
right,
how much is being used, and
right.
I mean, even like I've got an M1 Max with 64 gigs of RAM,
Hmm.
but 64 gigs you don't actually get 64 gigs. You get like 2/3 of that or 3/4 of that, when the rest of it is reserved for the OS. And so there is a command I think you can run that like bumps that reservation down a little bit,
Oh, I
but
didn't know that.
then but
Okay,
then you risk kind of screwing
right.
things up with your machine. Um, so yeah,
Yeah,
but
Which
Yeah,
you get a good point, but like when you've got 8 GPUs, but you've also got a CPU in memory that you can use, and some things may like with a. Did you say 1.8 terabytes of memory?
1.8 terabytes of RAM.
That you would use for generating 4K images because you could
Yeah,
you could address the whole pool at
yeah,
once. So it's not as simple as you think. It depends on the mix of what you're doing.
yeah. I mean, generating images in Invoke using, is it Grok or what's, I can't remember what the model is that
Oh, the X model?
it's on. I don't know what it's.
Is it
I don't know.
Flux One
Oh,
AI?
Flux, not Grok,
AI one?
Flux.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I know what you meant.
so I mean, it is like blazing fast at
Really?
generate. I mean, it's
How
you
big is
type in
it?
it at. Um, I don't know what I had set it to. It might have been like 1,500 square, and it
That's
was
pretty big,
like
honestly.
it was quarter second to generate an image.
That is incredible.
And then you with Invoke, you can like in Paint to say, okay, change this car to be something else, land
Right.
speeder, and then it changes that over to being that, and like instantly, it is so mind-numbingly cool.
What I find interesting is if we're following that Moore's law or what have you, in about 3 years, 4 years, maybe five, worst case, it sounds like the H100s that you have will be
Hmm.
normal for a lot of us. Maybe it'll be on our
Yeah,
phone kind of thing, right? So we'll have that same experience. And when you've got that quick turnaround time, a lot of things
hmm,
become that were very
yeah,
difficult before become easy now.
yeah,
So you're not taking your 4K video, making it 720 and splitting it into images at 24 frames a second
right,
to analyze it. You can actually take like a live feed at that point.
yeah,
That turnaround time is very, very fast. That is
yeah.
phenomenal.
And I mean, now I saw a Fireship video where he also was given a machine with one H100,
Okay.
and he mentioned, if you can find it online for sale, if you can find one of these H100s, occasionally you can find one, and it typically goes for like $35,000
Okay.
per GPU.
Yes.
Or-
Yeah, and they're unobtainium right now. I think is
yeah,
what he's
yeah,
getting at. It's
totally.
very difficult to find. Someone's talking about the 5090. Yeah, it looks like it's coming out next year, possibly. A lot of the SKUs dropped recently, so tons of rumors there. But I
Yeah,
don't think that's even close to one the memory bandwidth of the
no,
H100 or the memory size. I think it was
yeah,
32 gigabytes and GDDR7 is what the leak specs were. So similar at 32 gigs, but not even close. And then
yeah,
Wojciech again talking about the max size is 1024 by 1024. The reason for that is because it takes a long time to map out
yeah,
any pixels. That's a
yeah,
fair like in terms of the way that it works for diffusion, it's a fair amount
right,
of noise to calculate basically.
yeah.
It's yeah, it's messy.
And then I saw that the I saw somebody's benchmark on number of tokens per second that their M4 Max was getting,
Hmm.
and for that same model, I had information on what a 4090 took, and it was within. It was like within like 2%, 3%.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're similar.
They're so similar. But with the
It feels
M4
weird to
Max, you can
say
go up
max is
to
cheaper. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
192
Yes.
gigs.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, it's amazing that Apple has finally found or has finally stumbled into the product area where buying a Mac is the
It's cheaper.
economical solution.
It does feel weird. And I know we got burned for this, but I think a lot of people have come to that realization that it actually
Hmm.
is cheaper than buying the GPU. And
Yeah,
and if it's not faster, it's only slightly slower, which
yeah,
is saying a lot at that price point.
and do it at a quarter of the amount of power used
Right.
to do that generation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're saving in the long run with the power company,
That's
especially if you have a few of these things.
that's why I
And
assumed
then
you got some
and
Ampere
that's
box with a ton of cores or something like that. But no, this is phenomenal.
and that's with the M4 Max. We haven't even seen the Ultra
Ultra.
in the studio yet, which should be next year, along with the
Can't wait.
5090.
Can't wait. Yeah, maybe I
It's
could
it's
hook up a 5090 to it. On that note, I don't know if you've done your I don't know what do we call this? Secret Santa for Matt? Matt, do you buy yourself presents at Christmas?
No, no. I don't. I don't think I need. I guess I mean, there's this Atomos Ninja. Is
Right?
is kind of what I.
Yeah, yeah. That's your big Christmas present.
That's
So
it.
I finally buckled down and bought the Ultra
Oh,
2
oh,
in black,
nice.
which I, to me, I'm thinking it's going to be something that I can use to track my sleep kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because right now the other one I can't wear for 2 days, but I can kind of get like a day and a half out of it, no problem.
Right.
And I think
Right.
with two it should be perfectly fine. But I'm starting to track
Yeah.
my sleep now. So day
I
one
am
was
too.
yesterday. Oh, awesome! And here are
Yeah.
your results. I'm worried about
It,
sleep apnea. Basically, is the first thing that I think
mm.
I'm going to try to see. But yeah, how's your sleep
Oh,
tracking
it's
going?
amazing. It's
Yeah,
I mean, I haven't done it every day,
right.
but I've done it probably 7 of the last 10 days.
Okay.
Um,
And what's
and
your average? Because I got like 5.5 hours yesterday, and I'm starting to worry that I'm actually not sleeping as much as I thought it was. I was
um,
in bed for 8 hours.
let's see, sleep. Let's get to no recent. Okay, last 14 days.
Hmm.
7 hours 43 minutes.
That is really good. That
You
is
know,
that is excellent.
there's a secret. I think you can achieve this. Let me give you
Is
like
it having
the
children? Because I feel like it would
no
go
no
the
no.
opposite direction.
I feel like I can give you a 3-step, maybe 2-step plan to
Oh,
achieving this.
okay.
Okay.
Step one: have children.
Step one: quit. Quit your
Step one:
job.
oh, fair. Okay,
And have no but
no stress.
have make sure that that company is IPO'd and you were there for the IPO and you're
Yeah, and
there
took care of
early
it. Yeah,
on, and so you don't have to worry too much.
fair.
And then
Step
and
two
then
is
there
have
is no step
exercise.
two.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
This is underpants
I think that
moments
was
all
it.
over again.
I
And
guess
step three is
there was
profit.
a pre-step one,
No, no, you're good. You're
step
good.
one,
Yeah, yeah.
and then
Do
yeah.
you know underpants gnomes? It's a South Park thing, but the first step is to steal the underpants. Step two is I don't know. Step three is profit. And I feel like a lot of planning in tech is like underpants knows. Step one,
Yeah.
build self-driving cars that may or may not hurt people. Oh, step two, I don't know. Step three, profit.
Or there's the 2-step process to drawing an owl.
Yeah, exactly.
Draw 2 circles,
Draw
now
the rest
draw
of
the
the
fucking
damn owl.
hour.
Yeah. So I will say, sorry, I have two checkouts this week. The other one is kind of like a recommendation slash a complaint. So
Hmm.
maybe as I'm traveling more, or specifically traveling more to tech conferences, I'm seeing more and more of the AirPods Max. Is that what they're called?
Mm,
The
hmm.
big AirPods.
Yeah,
Kind of interested in them, but they're quite expensive. I don't
they
think the
are.
value for those at this point is there yet. I did go
No.
out and pick out the Sony. I don't want to say
Mm-hmm.
ripoffs, but maybe inspiration
Mm-hmm.
for the AirPods Max. But I got Mark V, and they don't fold. They have Alexa integration. The
Oh.
Mark IV is apparently do fold, which I was
Uh-huh.
so I'm a little bit miffed, but they sound phenomenal, and they've got that
Oh yeah.
3D audio thing. But it's
Yeah.
similar, not the same as what you'd see in the AirPods.
Right.
But what are you gonna do? It does sound really good, and it's replacing my aging Bose
Mm-hmm.
QC35s that I got when I was hired at a
Oh,
wonderful
okay,
company
yeah.
named Stock. Yeah, so they're
Yeah.
finally just on their last legs, basically.
Yeah, I feel like my last over-ear headphones were my QC15s,
Okay, that's a while ago. Yeah,
which I replaced the foam pads on three
right.
times,
So I've done that
and
once.
even the
Okay,
band on top,
right.
because
That's what's failing now.
yeah, because every time I'd get off the plane, I'd got all this
Yes,
like extra
black stuff. Yeah,
foam fuzz on my head.
disgusting. It's like this pleather stuff
Yeah.
that sticks to everything and it
Oh,
sticks to your skin.
yeah.
It's hard to get off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bad texture. That's why I'm making the
But
UV.
then I switched over to the AirPods, and I mean, but that I guess that happened not that long before leaving Datadog, and then with Olama, well, Infra slash Olama, I wasn't traveling anywhere near as much,
Right.
and then I don't travel at all now.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. I do like having noise canceling headphones on
Yeah.
top of noise canceling headphones. I know I've talked about this before, but the double
Oh,
noise
like
canceling.
Okay.
It works so well. So you make sure that the AirPods are the ones that you're using,
Right.
but the other ones are taking care of ambient noise as well as
Right.
like sort of cushioning. I think
Yeah.
just being on top of your ear helps, or
Right.
over your ear helps. I'm not a big fan of on top. I tried the top of ear
Right.
headphones recently. It's
Well,
just
the
not for me.
other option that is
Mhm.
also extremely good
Yeah.
is getting any pair of headphones that works reasonably well,
Hmm.
like just at home without any noise outside. And
Right.
then you get this stuff that on Amazon that's like
Hmm.
two different chemical compounds. You mix them together, and
Okay.
like starts getting harder, and you shove it in your ear, and then shove the earphone into it as well,
What?
and let it sit for about 5-10 minutes, and you start
Wow.
hearing like bubbly going on, and then you pull it out,
This sounds really
and it's
dangerous.
a full mold of your ear.
Wow.
But and then uh, you clean up the holes where the sound's actually coming out, and let it sit for another day or so. And now
Hmm.
you've got these custom
Yeah.
fitted headphones that are not expensive at all. I mean, it's $10 or $15 for the putty, and then $15 for a pair of in-ear headphones. Like seriously, not expensive headphones.
Incredible. How have we
And
never talked about this before?
and
That's like
it is spectacular. I would say it does better at blocking out the noise on a plane than the Bose QC15 when they were in good condition,
wow. That's incredible.
and they
This
are
is
$30.
this is I want to say Etymotic's whole business plan.
Oh
Like you would
yeah,
go
yeah,
to their place and they take a scan
yeah.
and then they produce. Very interesting.
Now the downside
Right.
is if you get the stuff and it's perhaps been sitting in a warm area for a while,
Okay.
then it doesn't quite go right. And now you've got this goop in your ear that takes a while to get out. And that happened to me one time. So
So don't
it
wear
might be
these in
worth
Florida.
it might be worth getting the ear doctor to do the scan for you, and
But
because
uh, yeah.
it's kind
Also a
of
bit of light bulb
sketchy.
moment. There's that stuff that you can put in the oven. I guess your headphones would need to be in there too, but like it cures in the oven. I've forgotten what it's called. It's
You
like
don't have to put your head in the oven too, do you?
yeah. This is make sure to remove the headphones from a head before putting the headphones in the oven.
Or there's
Apparently,
like 3D printing pens. Could you like
oh, interesting. Yeah,
no,
this all
it
sounds
might be
really
hot. This
dangerous.
sounds
Yeah,
bad. Yeah.
this is why you need to have like a test child around that you can test on the
Yeah.
other. Sorry, don't do this at home.
Don't do that. No. Not with my child.
Oh, sorry, we got quite a bit of comments here. Did
Oh
we
my
miss
goodness.
anything? Apple headsets probably their best product. Yeah, I feel like I'm
Yeah.
gonna end up trying them eventually. LM to remove. Oh yes. I did see the Android XR announcement and Gemini for glasses. I apologize. I saw the email. Did not go any further than that, David. I think that was this morning at like 10 a.m. that I was made aware of these. Right. Yeah. So the thing that David's saying is that as we build more models into things that look more and more like glasses, it could be that we're no longer looking at our phones, but the phone is just
Right.
like a
Always.
hub or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got like a
I mean,
beacon.
I would love to have, if these glasses, I mean, I need to update, I haven't updated these glasses in years, as you can tell by this, like, it's,
Oh, it's kind of rubbing
all
away
the
there.
paint is coming off
Yeah. You
here.
get patina.
Yeah, that's the nice name for it. But if I could use this and I could see, oh, this person that I've like walked past 5 times when walking the dog, their name is Joe because I don't remember it. And they, here's what you talked about last time. Oh my God, that would be so amazing.
That's
Because I am always forgetting. It's like, oh, I think we know each other, as like they're my neighbor.
as long as it's not like Black Mirror where you're pulling up things from like a social network where you don't know the person. And it's like, oh hey Jane, because this is a totally different conversation, right?
Yeah.
How you know my name? Like this is totally not
Right.
not the case.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they give you their name and it's like a personal CRM kind of thing, I totally. Pentax K1000 in 9-gram glasses, yes. Yeah, I was looking at a K1000 just the other day. In fact, it was
You were.
$80. Yes,
Is
I
it?
almost picked it up.
Why would it be that expensive?
That cheap. These are phenomenal cameras that will probably outlive both of us. I would
Wait,
assume it hadn't been
it's a
CLA.
the film camera, right?
Film camera that doesn't require a battery. Yeah, so it's like a big
Right.
watch. Yeah.
I mean, it was. I had one. It was rebranded by Sears,
Right.
and that's the first camera I started with was a Sears whatever 1000.
They are phenomenal. Yeah. Yeah, I think they're expensive just because they have a lot of moving parts.
Oh,
Finding one that
yeah.
works completely charged. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We get some noise, I think, on your end there.
That would be Jade looking very guilty about screwing up some plastic that's on the floor.
Or if we took Jade's point of view, for playing with the thing that was put in the play area.
That's right. That's right. It's here. Well, obviously, you want me to
Yeah,
make
I
noise
mean, you
with it.
left it here. Yeah. Was there
Yeah.
anything that you wanted us to check out, or any recent purchases? Any shows you've been watching on Apple TV? Have you gotten into Landman? I'm on episode 5 now. Not yet episode 6.
No. So our main bedroom is upstairs, and also upstairs is the kind of nursery room, and that's where my daughter's been sleeping for since we moved into the house. And then we keep asking ourselves, at some point you're going to want to move into your own bedroom downstairs, but whenever you're ready. And she's always been saying, well, when I turn 8. She was just turning 6 recently. So when I turn 8, or when I turn 10, or she's even said when I turn 15, I'll move out of this room. And then
5-year
all
plan.
of a sudden, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I said, I want to move downstairs.
Oh,
Like, okay. And so we set up just a temporary thing, and she absolutely adores it.
that's cool.
And so she has pretty much moved downstairs, but because it's a new experience, we have moved into the room next to her so that when she wakes up from a nightmare or something, she can run in. But soon we should be moving out of that back upstairs.
Cool.
And but her room is just on the wall to her room. One is shared with the guest room that we've been sleeping in, and the other wall is where our TV is.
Ah,
And so I think we might need to move the TV, or I don't know. I mean, it's got really great. Well, it's got really great insulation, but still, you hear it through the walls.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
So we need to come up with a. So we haven't really watched much TV at night.
Yeah, well, might be a
A
good thing.
few. Yeah.
Maybe
no,
that's
I
why
guess
you're
it's a
sleeping
good
so well.
thing. That's it. Yeah.
You're not watching disturbing. I don't know what you would call this. Landowner drama.
Yeah.
or,
Yeah.
or oil digging
Oh,
drama.
I mean, I guess one thing I've been doing with my time is reading more of Wool. So I'm probably about halfway through.
Oh, that's
Slow
cool.
reader.
What do you think about
it's
the
great.
author's writing style?
It's great. I like it.
Yeah, I honestly thought they were surprisingly capable as well, and I didn't
Yeah.
expect. Yeah. It's fairly well written, and I think I read 3 of the books. Are there 3? All 3 seem to be at the same quality as well. It wasn't like Ender's Game or like the next.
Right.
We're not really good at all.
Oh
Or
yeah.
5 books.
See, I never could get into Ender's Game at all. I tried. I
well
attempted
written.
to
The
start
rest of
it
them are
like
awful.
5 times. One series that I did read a lot of, not all of, but probably 5 books of, was
Right.
the God, what was that? It was another space
Doom?
series that lasted probably 7-8 seasons.
Oh.
God, what was it even about?
Altered Carbon? Was it that one?
No. It takes place in space. They're on spaceships going to other planets, and I can't even recall the story anymore. With Gina something as like one of the main characters.
The Expanse?
Gina Torres. Expanse. Is
Yeah.
with Gina Torres in it? Yeah.
6 seasons. I had to pull it up on Reddit by
Yes.
sci-fi
Yes.
by season length.
The Expanse. Yes.
The Expanse is 6 seasons. Yeah. It's quite a bit different than I think there was a book that it was based on, right? I read the first book.
There was a like 5 or 6 books in the
Okay.
series.
I only read the first book, and I
Yeah.
realized the first series drifted quite a bit. Maybe not in a bad way, just different in terms of like the
Yeah.
end of the season, that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
then I just watched the series for a bit.
Yeah.
Sci-fi,
Uh,
Silent Running. Whew. Lots of questions
Silent
in the
Running.
chat today.
What's Silent Running?
I don't know. We're gonna have to watch this. We got a viewer recommendation.
Silent Running. So, 1972 with Bruce Dern.
Oh, it's gotta be good. And I've told you not to watch The Substance, right?
You did say that, yes.
Silent Running. Oh, this looks really cool.
Yeah. I feel like I might have seen it, but because I saw a lot of stuff from that time. I mean, not when it came out because I would have been 2 years old, but
There's a recommendation for Tenet. If you watch that, your child will definitely wake up because the audio in that movie is very loud. It's very dark. For some reason,
Yeah.
extremely loud.
I remember being very impressed with Tenet.
Yeah, me too. I've seen it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people
Yeah.
laugh at it, and it is a little bit laughable, but I really did like it. This is the one with the reverse bullets, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I think that's about it. Did we cover all these
Yeah,
questions?
I'm trying to anything else that I've no, I mean I bought a whole bunch of stuff just around Black Friday and I don't think I've gotten anything else. No.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean other than these stupid shirts.
How many pairs? How many shirts that look just like this did you get? Did you get like 5 of them?
Well, let's
With ducks on them specifically.
Oh, with ducks? No,
This
just
is the only one with ducks. Okay.
Just the only one with ducks, but
Whatever that black and white one is.
but
Oh, it is
there
one.
are
Hibiscus.
there are a number of Hawaiians. There's that kind of.
We're gonna do outfit of the day with that.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
So there's that one. This one. This one's a little bit loud.
Yeah. That's not bad.
So
like
that's
standard.
2.
Yeah. Are these all?
This one's a little bit louder.
Nice.
No, these are all like no-name brands off of Amazon.
Right.
That's 3. There's kind of more traditional. Yeah, 4.
Very cool.
And that's another 5.
So I'm counting 5, 6, 7 because you're wearing one. So do you have one
6.
for? This looks.
And
like
then 7. 7 I've got on.
Actually.
Huh?
If you wore that one, I think you could break into the Hilton and clean the rooms. One of the places we stayed in Hawaii had like that exact shirt.
Oh yeah.
The staff uniform. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's an orange one in the other room. So 8.
Okay, so you've got enough for a week. Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, always verify. You have no idea what we're planning. Yes. If
I heard there was
LLMs
a
look for
pickle.
novelty, yeah.
A pickle exploit, and
I've not heard
somehow
of
someone
pickle
created a
exploits.
backdoor.
Yeah, I was googling pickle exploits. Pickle
I
balls.
don't even understand that.
Yeah. Python pickles. Pickle model. Pickle
Oh.
module. How to exploit a Python pickle vulnerability. Let's do it together. It's an object serialization module. Interesting. Today I learned. Thanks, Surf Summit Sky. Oh, it's an alternative to Marshall on Marshall. Okay.
Okay.
Interesting. I have not used pickle, obviously.
I don't know anything about pickle. I
All
don't.
right, well-
I tend to avoid Python altogether.
I tend to look for pickles. Big fan of. Was it cucumbers? Yeah, cucumbers and brine.
Cucumber?
I think so.
Well, you can pickle all sorts of things.
Well, that is a good
Pickled
point,
onions.
yes. I guess if we're just talking about
we
generic,
often have pickled onions at the house.
it could be a lot. Yeah, pickled
Oh,
ginger.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, folks. Well, thank you
Okay,
very
I
much
guess
for all the
I guess
questions.
this is a sign that if we're talking about pickling
Pickle
things,
juice.
we need to go.
We're at
Well, thanks to
we're
everyone
at
for the comments. There was a lot of good. There was a lot of good comments, and then there's some not so good ones. But no, I think. Uh, um, yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
All
Thank you
right,
very much.
thanks everyone. I'm
Should
going
we
to find the
button?
end button. Finish. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Bye.